What's going on, guys? So today I want to share with you how I went from somebody who was a little bit fat with not a lot of confidence to somebody who's more fit with a lot of confidence, right? In hopes that it gives you an idea of what you need to do in your life, because I understand when I talk to some of my friends who are in that situation, I can help them navigate it, and I want you to be able to have it based on what I did. And so, to give you a background, right? I was in a long distance relationship within my time in the military, and I was in a relationship for 4 years from 2016 to 2020. And so, because I had this hot Brazilian girlfriend, right, there wasn't need for me to try appearance physically. And at the same time, my priority was to save a lot of money and invest it and make a lot of money, which eventually I did. But as a result, I always wore the same clothes. I shaved my head all the time. I just stopped caring about my appearance. I let myself go. In 2020, my girlfriend ultimately, my ex at the time, ultimately decided that she was the only child. She wanted to stay in Brazil, which I completely respect, because she wanted to take care of her older parents. And so now I found myself in this position where I was 220 pounds, shaven, and I just looked like a Buddhist monk almost, right? If you see my videos from at that time, you can clearly see that I was a bit chubby, right? And I just used to eat pizzas and Chick-fil-A all the time during COVID, and just come home and work on my business after work. And so what I did was I worked heavily on my internal mind at that time, right? So, for example, whenever I get into arguments with my girlfriend, my ex, I would always just say like, "Hey, I'm sorry," and she'd be like, "What are you sorry for?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm just telling you, I'm sorry." And she's like, "Well, what are you sorry for?" I'm like, "I'm sorry for the situation that we're in. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I don't know what you want me to say." And she's like, "What are you sorry for, though?" And we would get into even an apology would become an argument. Why? Because I just wasn't a very good communicator. And so I would go through therapy. I would get coaching from my coaches and mentors, and I would learn this exercise called 7 layers deep. So, for example, I would say like, okay, I want to be successful. Why? I want to be successful because I want to be able to take care of my parents. Why is that important? Well, it's important for me because as an immigrant, I grew up. We didn't have a lot of money, and it's super important for me to be able to give back to them. Well, why is that important? Well, it's important for me because, a part of me wants to provide for them. Their level of validation to me is something that I value. Well, why do I value that? Right? And you just constantly go into this deep loop of why. And when you master, and I mastered that exercise, when you master that exercise, you can apply it to anywhere else in your life, right? When you get into an argument with your girlfriend, it's like, cool, hey, I'm sorry. Why are you sorry? Well, I'm sorry because, I said X, Y, and Z, and it made you upset. Well, how do you know what that made me upset? It's like, well, I think it made you upset. Sure, maybe you can tell me why, but I think it made you upset because I wasn't considering kind of your situation at that time. And you can have a deeper, clarifying understanding of kind of like the other person's perspective. And when you get to that point, it's like, cool, I'm not confident. Why? Or for example, when I used to be on dating apps, right? It's like, cool, I'm not getting any matches. Why? Maybe my profile picture is not that great. Maybe my pictures are not optimized. Why? Because I'm freaking fat, right? It's okay. I need to lose weight. Why? Because I want to find somebody that I can be on dates with and like have relationships with and potentially be married. Why? Because that's how I would define happiness. Right? And like, okay, my hair is not that great. I need to invest a lot of money on my hair. Why? Because it's going to help me attract more people. My clothes are not that great. I need to invest more money on that clothes. Why? Because it's going to help me attract and represent myself. And it shows a level of self-respect for me. Right? I want to be able to take care of me because I love me. I want to make sure I look good for me first, because as long as I can love me, I can love somebody else for who they are. As long as I can love who I am, I can love who they are. Because if I don't love who I am, I'm going to be seeking a level of validation from them to me, right? So for example, with my ex, As soon as my ex and I broke up, I felt zero confidence. Why? Because when I'm with her, I was always confident. I gave her my ability to be confident as a man. As a result, I let myself go. I didn't really need to work on myself, right? So like just going through this inner 7 layers deep of constantly asking why is that important in all areas of life is the thing that really changed for me as to how I developed a level of confidence and self-respect for myself. Why am I not confident? Well, if I was to strip naked and in front of a girl, well, the signs are obvious. I'm not chiseled. I'm not six-pack abs, jacked. I'm fat. My head's shaven. It looks bad. Right now, I have a pimple, right? Like, maybe my teeth are not that white. Like, there could be a lot more things that I do, which I don't have to go to the extreme, but as long as I make clear progress, right? Like, so right now, if I was to strip naked in front of a girl, I feel pretty confident. Right? I don't feel confident, let's say, next to a bodybuilder, right? But I feel pretty confident that, you know, I have a chance. Right? I'm a pretty decent looking guy now in comparison to I was. You know, like guys, like look at my freaking forearms, dude. Look at this. It's pretty good, right? You know, I love me, and when I see so many guys now who are a bit struggling with themselves, and it's because they just haven't seek the level of clarity as I have now and done the work as I have now. It's like, cool, why do you need to go to the gym? Well, I need to go to the gym, get fit, because I want to attract somebody for me in my life, right? Like, just continue to do that, right? Let those reasons motivate you and fuel you into becoming the person that you need to be, right? So, for example, you ever see those cases where a boyfriend and girlfriend breaks up and the girlfriend's like, oh, you know, you're fat, you're ugly, all that kind of stuff, and the boyfriend, you know, has a YouTube video where they go on a year-long transformation? It's because they didn't want to be treated that way ever again. They didn't want anybody else to control how they feel. So they needed to take back control because they understood their why, their reasoning as to. And so you need to be able to have a clear reason as to why, because those emotions fuel you and motivate you to pursue a direction that you want to go. And so hopefully that helped. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Peace.